What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be working on a 2008 Escalade. So the project for today is changing out the rear driver's side window regulator. Customer complaint is they roll the window down. Well, they try to roll the window up, but it won't. Basically, it just falls right down, and they can't hear the window motor. So what we're gonna do is open the door, take the door panel out, and then replace the window regulator. So this is the door that we're gonna be working on. So first we're gonna take that door panel off and then access the door regulator, window regulator. Alright, so the part for this window regulator is going to be 741390 window regulator. It's a Dorman. And then we'll open it up here, and then that's the new part. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the old one out and put the new one in. So first there's going to be a cover here behind the handle, and we're just gonna pop that cover out, and you can use a flathead or whatever. I use a plastic tool, and then we're gonna take that bolt out. It's gonna be a 10 millimeter. So with a 10 millimeter, you're gonna just take that bolt out, and that's the bolt. So next, you're going to get your plastic prior, and you're going to go through this end right here, and you're going to pop it up. Okay, but be careful because there's a tab and you don't want to break it. So you're going to move around to the other side and pop that tab up. And these are the tab that holds it in place. There's one there and one on the other side. Okay, and so from there we're going to pull the wire out, and you're going to pinch and pull, and that releases the window control. So right here in the door handle area, it's a cover, and you're going to put your clip in there, and you're going to pop that out like that. And that's what that cover looks like. And right behind it is going to be one 10 millimeter. So you're going to get your 10 millimeter, go in there and get that out. So next you're going to pry behind the door around the edges. There's going to be clips. So you're going to get a plastic prior, and you're going to pop each one of them out. But be very careful. So you're going to go all the way around and pop these out. After you've popped all the clips out from the door, now you're going to pull it out, and you're going to raise. Actually, I think we have to take this out. So before taking the panel out, we got to pop this out with your plastic prior, like so. And then be very careful because they're clipped on there, and you don't want to break anything. So you're going to grab this and lift it up. so. And it seems like you're gonna pop this thing in. Pop that out and then just push it through there. So right back here behind the handle is actually that bolt that you see right there is holding it. And that's a 7mm. So I'm going to get a 7mm socket and unscrew that, and that will release the handle. So right here is the 7mm, and so you're going to put a whatever choice of tool that you use, 7mm socket, and you're just going to loosen that up here. So after you loosen up that 7mm, now you can pull this out and wedge it through the hole, like so. And then right here, the dust cover is actually clipped on to here, so you just need a pry tool and just kind of pry that out, and there you have it. So here's the back end of the cover, or the door panel, and so these are the clips that you pry out from the door. Okay, it looks like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and a lot of times when you pry this out, depending on older vehicles and stuff like that, don't be alarmed. A lot of them will break on you. If you're lucky like I was, they won't break, but if they do break, if you have it staggered, you can still clip it on and it'll still hold. If you're concerned about it, you can actually go to your auto parts store and you can buy these clips and replace them, and they're really easy to take off and put on. They basically just slide off like so, and then you can just pop them back in. Really simple. So there's white ones and black ones. I don't know why they have different colors. So we're gonna take this cover off. This is they're called different things. It could be noise dampener, there could be dust covers, whatever it may be. It's in our way, so we got to peel them off. As you can see, this one is fancier than most cars. Some cars will just have a plastic cover and it's glued on by silicone or something, and then you kind of cut them off and you can't really put them back on anymore. If you do, it'll just make a mess. But so this looks, as you can see, these have 1 2 3 4 clips that actually clips onto the back of that door panel. It looks like they just come off, and we'll put them back on once we put the door panel back on. What we're going to do now is we're going to peel this off, and as you can see, it's kind of like a sticky glue that you can peel off. If it doesn't peel off, you can get a razor blade and kind of, peel them off by that. But if you do it slowly, it looks like it'll just peel right off. And then we'll go ahead and put it back on when we're done. But to get to that, to access that window, to get to that window we're gonna have to take this off and to access it. So, and as you can see right here, it's kind of coming off, and so just kind of peel along with it if you want to reuse it. And then you can probably just, if you can't save it, you can probably just get some silicone and create your own. But I think we saved it well enough that we can reuse this one. So, to check what's wrong with this window regulator, moving the window up here, the reason why this one is not rolling up or rolling down is because, and over time, this is controlled by a cord, this cord here. And so what may happen is it got off the rail or the wheel, and so it's not you know, it's not moving up and down anymore, or sometimes the cord could pinch and break or cut, and so that will cause the window to not go up and down. In this case, for this vehicle, you can either buy just the motor, the window motor, or you can buy the window motor with the window regulator, but they do not sell the window regulator on its own for this vehicle. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and replace the window regulator with the motor. So right here, these are the two bolts that's holding on to the window. Basically, it pinches the window on both sides. That way it holds it and goes up and down like that. So once we loosen these bolts out, we're going to raise the glass up, and then we're going to tape it from the top to hold the glass, and then we're going to replace we're going to unbolt the regulator. So what I did was I raised the window all the way up, and I'm going to tape it from the top. But before I do that, I'm going to jam this screwdriver in there so the window will not go down. And you can either put 1 or 2 screwdrivers in there. I'll go ahead and put another one. So I'm going to grab another screwdriver and stick that in place. And then now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get some Scotch tape for safety reasons and tape it. If you're working by yourself, this is what you got to do. If you have somebody helping you, then you can ask them to hold the window while you're working on it, because you don't want the window to come down on you, on your arm or hand while you're working. Then there goes your hand. All right, so from there, make sure it's stuck to the window good and holding it. I'm going to pull the screwdrivers out, and then right in here is a 10mm that's going to release from the regulator. Okay, there's one. And there's 2, and see how that regulator just goes down. So now that we loosen up the glass from the regulator, to remove the regulator and the motor, you got 1, 2, 3 that's holding the regulator, and 1, 2 that's holding the motor. And we're going to release those and remove the regulator and the motor. Go ahead. So first we're going to go ahead, they're all 10mm. Okay, go ahead and release the motor first. And I was wrong. There's 3 bolts. There's one more right here for that's holding the motor in. Okay, so that's 3. And now the motor is loose. And now we're going to release the regulator. So there's 2. It goes 1. That's a nut. 2. That's another nut. And then last 3. That's a bolt. Okay, so now you pull the regulator out, and you can remove the regulator and the motor. And you gotta kind of fish it out. And when you pull the motor out, there's gonna be a plug, okay? And so you're gonna need to push down on the harness and pull out, okay? And that's connected to the motor to get it power and to control it. Now, let me show y'all, in this case right here, you see where the wire is, it's all tangled and crunched up and pinched. And so a lot of this happens because you know, in usage, you know, it's gonna wear out because this rail right here that it follows on is made out of plastic, and then, you know, it'll get all messed up, and then, you know, it won't be aligned anymore, and so it gets knocked out of place, and then there's really no way to actually fix that. The motor itself could still be good, and you probably could just replace the motor, but in theory, if you go to the auto parts store, the motor is the one that costs the most. The regulator costs less. So it's really, you're not really spending more to buy the whole assembly. So I would recommend to get the whole assembly. In this case, you had to get the whole assembly because they don't just sell the regulator. I also wanted to show you that right here, this is where we disconnected from the window. If you look from the back side, when you screw in the bolt, it actually holds in, and as you can see, it pinches. It has a rubber that pinches the glass and holds it. So it's able to pull the window up and down on both ends from the center. Alright, so here's the old part, and here's the new part. Okay, make sure you match everything up on the where it mounts onto the window, and then where the motor sits. And then of course you want to match up the connection. Everything looks good. So when we're putting this in, there's a trick to it. You can actually put this screw in, and then you can set it on there and it'll align it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the motor in first, and then we're going to set these in like so. Okay, and then you're going to set that screw into place. But before we do that, actually, we need to actually loosen these bolts up. And it looks like they added 8 millimeters. That's a 7 millimeter. Okay, right? So I loosened up the 8 millimeters here. They changed the size bolt on us. So we're going to go ahead and slide that in into that slot there. And for that to happen, we have to slide these into the window. And so it's going to set in like so, as you can see. And then these two bolts at the bottom will set into that spot there. Okay, now once we get these in, we're going to go ahead and add these nuts on so it can stay in place. And we'll go ahead and tighten that up there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is next we're going to go ahead and mount these this motor on. And remember, there's three holes where the motor sets into. But before you do all that, what we're going to need to do is we're going to plug the window motor harness connection. So here's the harness connection, and we're going to just go ahead and clip that on. And then for the window motor, make sure there's no cables in the way. Okay, there goes one. Two, and that's going to sit in place, and then we'll put this third one on. Go ahead and tighten that in. Okay, and last but not least, we'll go ahead and set the window down. So what we'll do is, the window is kind of rolled a little low because this is a new window. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the car and raise the window up where it sits in the window, and we can tighten up the window. For the window to work, of course, you have to plug the controls back in. All right, and then we're going to roll it up. Yeah, I didn't. So you're going to plug this back on for the window to work, and you're going to roll it up and make sure it sits in between the clamps of the window. Okay, and then from there we're going to get the 8mm bolts because they changed it, and we're going to go ahead and tighten those in. That's one, that's two. Okay, and then we're going to peel off the tape. Once we peel off the tape, now we're going to test the window. It's going to go up and down. So that's down, and that's up. Go ahead and do that a few times. Also, this is what I was talking about. This is where we tighten up where it clips onto the window. Okay, and then also while you're watching it go up and down, make sure it actually is centered. The window is centered onto this mount and onto where it sits when it goes all the way up. So going up and down, it looks like everything's working now, and window goes up and down. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and double check if everything's tight, and we'll tighten up all these other bolts here. Remember, those two are 8mm with the two new ones, and then we'll tighten all these with a 10mm. And that's basically it. So we're going to go ahead and put the door panel back on. We're going to turn off the car. We're going to take this off and put the panel back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here first, and then stick the clips on there. So there's four That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to put the door panel back on. So we're going to slide this into here. And remember, this harness goes through this hose slot right here. You can see it better on the back, okay? Because that's going to be the control for the window. And then we're going to slide this through there. Go ahead and turn it off. We're gonna raise this up, and remember this, there's a lip right here on this panel that needs to go over this rubber seal, and then this clips on to there. And once you get that all aligned, like that, make sure this is facing the right way, because right now it is not facing the right way. So once we get the door panel in, then you're going to snap everything in place. Okay. And then right here in the center of the door, we're going to put a 10mm. But it's going to be tricky, so you're going to have to use a magnet and then set into place. Once you center it, then you're going to get 8mm, tighten it in, then you're going to get the cover, and you're going to snap the cover in. And then right here, you got this cover here. It's going to go into place here. And then there's a clip behind. You're going to have to snap those in. And then you're going to get a 10mm. And you're going to screw that into place. Like so. And then you got the cover. Snap that cover in. And last but not least, the window control. So with this, we're going to clip it in, okay? And then we're going to set it in there, and it's just held by these clips, so you can place it down, push this back in first, and then clip that in. Okay, now we're going to turn on the car and see if the window operates. from the control back here, window goes up, windows go down. Make sure it's not hitting anything. And then from the main control from the front, we're going to try it. Window goes down, window goes up.